A notification has been issued by the Assam government saying that no government officer or employee can indulge in a second marriage. If they have to do it, they will take the permission of the state government. Then only they can go forward. Also, if their personal laws allow them for a second marriage, third marriage, or fourth marriage, basically bigamy or polygamy, then also they have to take the permission of the state government, Assam state government. We are going to discuss that. Do not worry about notes because notes are provided through my Telegram channel, Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. If you have any queries regarding this examination, you can talk to me on my Instagram and follow me on my threads. So this diktat that has been issued, it has also been issued for female employees, not only male employees. It's very interesting. And before this, the state government also formed an expert committee in order to give details about the practice of polygamy, specifically in Assam. And what can the government do to have a curb on it? So it has taken this particular notification in that stride only. No government officer or employee can indulge in a second marriage. A second marriage will not be allowed to be done without the permission of the state government. That means the state government has an interest in your personal life. And then violation of the policy will attract a hefty fine. Not only that, it will also have to face, the person who has done it will also have to face a departmental inquiry. The notification has also been provided for employees in the Borderland Territorial Area, Karbi Anglong, Dima Hasao Autonomous Council as well. You see, specifically in the northeastern areas, Northeast India, and that too in the tribal areas, polygamy is widely practiced, bigamy and polygamy. So this has, been in that stride, not only for employees in the general Assam area, but also for employees that actually are posted in BTR, then other autonomous hill councils, which is actually tribal areas. No government servant who has a wife living, remember, who has a wife living shall contract another marriage without first obtaining the permission of the government. And now it's standing that such subsequent marriage is permissible under the personal laws for the time being applicable to him. That means even if your personal laws are allowing second marriage, then also you have to take the permission of the state government. No female government servant shall marry any other person who has a wife living. Marry any person. That means the person may not have to be a government employee. But here the female government servant is being talked about without first obtaining the permission of the government. If this particular violation takes place, then disciplinary authority may initiate immediate departmental proceedings. That means in your department you can be charged under the Assam Services Discipline and Appeal Rules of 1964. And certain things, certain penalties such as compulsory retirement can also be put on you if under the violation of Rule 26 of the Assam Civil Services Rules of 1965, 64 and 65, both are there. And this will be a gross misconduct on the part of a government servant having large bearings on the society. That means if you're a government servant, you have to be a beacon of idealism, a beacon of, certain ideals. And that is why the Assam state government is wanting to achieve it in the state itself through its government servants and employees. Now let's talk about polygamy. What is polygamy? Polygamy is the practice of having more than two wives. When it is more than one, like at least two wives are there, it is bigamy. If a woman has multiple partners through marriage, then it is polyandry. Okay, so polygamy is for men and polyandry is for women. All right, and in India, polygamy has been widely practiced before independence as well. So right now, polygamy is actually, bigamy and polygamy are dealt by both personal laws, Muslim laws, Hindu laws, and also the Indian Penal Code through its sections. So the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955 has already outlawed the practice that one can marry more than one wife. Okay, IPC section 494 that talks about marrying again during lifetime of husband or wife. That means if your husband or wife are living, then you cannot marry. In certain cases it is allowed. I will tell you that as well. It penalizes bigamy or polygamy, and there is an imprisonment of up to 7 years, liable to fine as well. A person can be imprisoned up to 7 years and can be liable to fine if the current partner through marriage is living in nature. All right, this provision doesn't apply to a marriage which has been declared void by a court. That means child marriage. And the law also doesn't apply if a spouse has been missing since the last 7 years and the whereabouts are unknown. That means if a person has unilaterally went away from the marriage for 7 years, then also this will not allow. So these are certain exceptions. Generally, the first wife files a complaint against a marriage that has taken place if a wife's husband has married another person or woman. So the court will have to look into whether the husband has entered into a legally valid second marriage. That means if the customs that are practiced in your religion were abided by for the second marriage, then only it will be considered by the courts. But the courts will not look into those kind of relationships which are adulterous in nature. If a person is living away from the married wife with some another woman or person and they have not married, then that cannot be challenged. Okay, although that can be a grounds for divorce. In the Kanwal Ram and others versus the Himachal Pradesh administration of 1965, the apex court reiterated the standard proof must be of marriage performed as per customs. Whatever rituals in Hindu marriage, Muslim marriage, Christian marriage, if that has been performed for the second partnership as well, then it can be, questioned in the courts. In a bigamy case, the second marriage as a fact, that is to say, the ceremonies constituting it must be proved. This you have to keep in mind. According to section 495 of the IPC, we talked about 494. 495 also protects the rights of the second wife. If a person has married another, if a man has married another woman, and he was of course married to the first woman, first wife is there, second wife will also get protection. Supposedly, a man lied to marry the second woman, and the second woman did not have any knowledge about the first wife. How her rights will be protected? The man can be imprisoned for up to 10 years with fine. So this is protecting the second wife as well. After independence, there were anti-bigamy laws that were ensured in the provincial legislatures including Bombay and Madras, and even the Special Marriage Act of 1954, which is very radical in nature, as in if people who are belonging to different faiths or religions want to get married, but none of them want to be converted to the faith of the first person or the second, they can marry under this. So it is to protect inter-religious union of marriage. This also said that we do not promote bigamy or polygamy. At the time of marriage, both the people shall not be having a living spouse. This is what this particular section says, specifically subsection A of the section 4 of Special Marriage Act, as you can see here. Parliament passed the Hindu Marriage Act in 1955 that outlawed the concept of a person having more than one spouse. That is also applicable to Buddhist, Jain and Sikhs. If we talk about Parsis, the Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act of 1936 had already outlawed bigamy and polygamy. Section 5 says the condition for Hindu marriage. When can Hindus marry? Here it is written, a marriage may be solemnized between any two Hindus, if neither party has a spouse living at the time of the marriage. We're not talking about divorcees. We are talking about, whenever we talk about spouse, that means they are still married, okay? Section 17 of the Hindu Marriage Act, it does outlaw bigamy, as in it is an offense. But the interesting part is that any child who is born from bigamous marriage, that means from the second wife, he or she will have the same rights as a child from the first marriage in the law. So the protection of child rights is there. There is a crucial exception to the bigamy of the Hindu law in Goa. We know that there is uniform civil code, but Hindus there in Goa are allowed to have a second wife. Well, there are certain things you have to keep in mind for Goa as well. If the wife has not been able to produce a child by the age of 25 or if she hasn't been able to produce a male heir by the age of 30. Alright, then the man can marry. This is for Goa. The Shariat Act of 1937 says that it allows Muslim man to have 4 wives, and because of this attraction, many men did convert to Islam. But the apex court in Sarla Mudgal versus Union of India in 1955 said that this kind of conversion to Islam, just because you want to marry more than once, it is unconstitutional in nature. And this was reiterated by the apex court in the Lily Thomas versus Union of India case. Now, if we talk about polygamy in India, polygamy is widely practiced still. Specifically, highest it is among Christians, 2.1%. And this is with the help of National Family Health Survey 5, 2019-20. It is 1.9% among Muslims, 1.3% among Hindus, and 1.6% among other religious groups. The highest prevalence is in northeastern states with tribal population. Because in tribes, it is a custom to marry more than once, according to certain customs of the tribe. Alright, but the current step that has been taken by the Assam government. Earlier we were seeing that the Assam government came down with a heavy hand on child marriages. And the Assam government has this, you can say, motive for itself, a standard that it has set for itself, that by 2026, it is going to completely outlaw child marriages. Outlaw as in curb and completely eliminate child marriages. Okay. Now let's talk about this prelims question. You have to answer it in the comment segment. Consider the following statements. The penal provision of the IPC will not apply for adulterous relationships that do not qualify as valid marriage under the law. According to the Hindu Marriage Act, the child born from the bigamous marriage would acquire the same rights as a child from the first marriage under the law. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? Let me take the names of those students who have answered my last question correctly, so that you can answer this one as well. So right to bear arms was the correct answer. Mind-blowing facts. Penugoti Suresh, Ankit, Vishal. You all have answered it correctly. Please answer this one as well. Thank you so much for watching.